Hey guys, thanks for joining us on our second part of our elk hunt. If you haven't seen the first part, be sure to check that out. Let's jump right into it. So here we are. This is actually the day we were tracking the bull I shot, and we got to a point where we were starting to lose the blood. It was starting to get really hard to track him, and we were going really slow and cautiously. But a bull started doing this weird chuckling down in the bottom of the range. About 150 yards away, and as you'll see, I call at it. The wind was going right towards him, and we didn't have time to set up. He was actually pretty close, but I'm not sure if he already had winded us and was wondering what was up, and I don't know quite what he was doing, but we tried calling a few times at him, and eventually he just shut up, and we assumed he went the other way, but because the wind was going right at him. The rest of that day, we basically just hiked around, Dad and I did, until we decided we were going to go back and get Trevor, and we decided we'd make a long haul back so we could just get an afternoon hunt, his first afternoon in. We had gone down below this meadow, and we oversat a big wallow. Well, it was big in years past. They weren't using it much this year, but nothing came through, nothing was bugling, so we couldn't really make up a plan to go chase anything. So here we are walking out, and something starts talking.
Well, we have a bull bugling down in the bottom of the drainage down there, but we won't be able to get to him tonight. So let's just stay out, and we're gonna go up the other side out, see if those bugles will help us. He's just making some timid sounds down there and not full bugles. It's kind of weird. Hey, Trevor's here. Hey, no one cares. Oh, awkward. I care. He's not coming out. Yeah, he's gonna be nighttime bull, isn't he? It's just weird how he's bugling. Zero, I know. Yeah, but he was chocolate.
So this is that next morning, and man, this was a slow day. Nothing really happened at all. We tried to get something bugling here early, and nothing was talking at all. Not a single bugle that morning, and we ended up all the way across the drainage on a far hill. We found ourselves wondering what to do. We decided we were going to move up the drainage and gain just a little bit more elevation, and then we were going to try to get something fired up midday. And our plan actually worked flawlessly because something fired up, but he was clear on another ridge, and we were already a long ways from camp, so we kind of hesitated going all the way across down through the drainage again, and we weren't even sure if he was on that far side or just way down on the bottom, but we ended up getting down towards him, and it took too long. He started to quiet back down, and then by the time we could get to him and get close enough to actually challenge him or do anything that would bring him away from his cows, he was already going the other way, and it seemed like they had already gotten up out of their bed, and then the cows just started moving up over the hill, and it's probably where they were going to feed.
Cause then
Later
you
on.
see one going up the hill.
I saw a couple elk moving up through the trees, but by that time it was probably 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So we had worked him quite a while. Got him fired up around 1.
I don't think we should have bugled back there. I think cow call is what I wanted you to cow call. I couldn't tell. We're not close enough. He's going up. He's in that little grease.
So the next day we decided we would go across the trail, the main trail that we would pack in, and we would go to a different creek and see what was going on over there because nothing was really rutting at all on our drainage. So we were getting pretty frustrated with that. We decided we would go across the trail and try over there.
To lower elevation.
Yeah, we dropped about 500 to 600 feet in elevation, and we were about 2 miles from camp when we first started, and we got some elk worked up. About at first light, we got all the way down to where we wanted to listen and see if anything was coming up, and they weren't talking. So finally, I decided to bugle and make a couple of cow calls, and they finally got to talking. And then 2 bulls fired up, and they were just maintaining a couple hundred yards distance from each other. And with our setup the way it was really mobile for one, so we couldn't really film it, and we couldn't communicate to each other. So, and I would hear one of those 2 walking, and I would think it was an elk. So I didn't know we could go down farther. And it was tough. So we couldn't get close enough to really make them want to come in, and so they finally moved off.
I've got a human tripod right now. Okay. Holy God. Alright, I'm gonna sound really sophisticated here. Alright. It's like okay, it's like 10 o'clock right now. In other words, we had okay, let's get serious. Hunter almost shot a moo cow this morning. I stopped. We've been on bulls at part way just because every time we get close to them, they run away. It's probably because I wasn't bathing in the cow urine. So. We got a bull he's making some chuckles over there. So, other than that, I don't know anything else. Holy cow. Yeah, so this was. Alright, so this morning's hunt was pretty productive. We came down to some lower elevation across the main trail. And so it was a completely different drainage than we've been hunting. And we got down here, nothing was really vocalizing. Talking. Nothing was really talking. And we finally woke them up with some bugles and cow calls. They got pretty fired up. We stayed within a couple hundred yards of them for a couple hours there, but none of them ever committed to coming in. I think we should have gotten a little bit closer. I didn't film any of it because it was a really mobile setup, so it didn't really make sense to film it. But now there's a bull down there chuckling, and anyway, we're trying to make a plan to kill him sometime. He might still be going away. I don't know.
So later on that day, we decided we would go back up the ridge and try to get something worked up. midday again because that worked the day prior, and it worked. There was a bull that started firing up about, well, I don't know how far it was. We could barely hear him when he first started, and he was all the way across the drainage. And so we were making a plan to get closer, and we started to get closer. And then we realized that he was doing the same, and he was covering ground pretty fast. And he went all the way down to the bottom of the other side of the creek and started working his way up our side. So we had been getting closer to him as well this whole time, and finally we just set up, and I was about 50 yards behind Dad and Trevor and in the middle of them, and the wind was going uphill, so everything was good. And so I just started calling and making some bugles because that's what he originally heard, and doing some cow calls. And he was finally coming up the hill, and then he just hung up, and Dad and Trevor could see him the whole time.
I was set up. We kept moving as we went down. I kept setting up different places, and he'd bugle at us, and I'd stop, thinking he's coming in. And so my last setup, I was stuck behind a tree with a limb in front of me, and the bull came at 40 yards. He went under my shooting lane, and he went towards Dad, and Dad had it trees around him, pine trees, and he had the bull at 15 yards.
He could shoot long ways both sides, but the bull just stayed right beneath him. And
at 15 yards, he was watching his antlers rake trees, and he couldn't do anything about it because there was a bunch of limbs in the way. So the bull came back. He kept doing just lines between Dad and I.
And they were trying to get closer, but they didn't want to spook it, of course. And
I had him come at 40 yards, and I had the shooting lane, and I had limbs right in front of me, and I didn't think the air was going to clear it. And at that point, I was thinking, well, he might work his way back up, so I wasn't going to take any chances. And so I didn't take the shot, and had dreams about what if I would have shot it, and it would have worked. So,
but that whole time I was working my butt off, going up and down that freaking ridge and calling. I wish we would have gotten some of the audio of it, because that was, man, we were having a screaming match, and
it was cool.
He was fired up, and he was a big bull. So.
I'll take the full blame on not getting that on video,
because I was mobile setup.
I was more focused on trying to shoot this elk than on getting the video, because I knew if I messed it up trying to get the video, I would have gotten crap for that. And since I didn't get the
crap
video,
either way, so
I got crap for it. So.
I think this may have been the only night we got back to camp before dark. We worked our tails off this year.
We put in a lot of miles.
There's a mule deer doe and a fawn in game. Go back just for it's just chill. I bet your truck's in water. Yeah, there's an electric fence around it. It's probably electrocuted. I don't know why they always hang around camp. I don't know. Not very skittish. Those big ears. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it, but the mule deer behind us somewhere. Oh, I can't do this. I'm not this coordinated right there. All right, Hunter. So recap of the day. We got back early because nothing's bugling. I think we had a bull at like noon start firing up, and called him in probably 500 yards out.
Oh, more than that.
And he came to take the cows that we were pretending to be from the bull. And I didn't record it because I was focused on trying to kill the bull more than getting it on video. And in hindsight, I got
Let's be honest, he didn't know how to work the tripod.
that too. But
It was a big bull.
it was a really big bull.
I stayed
and
back about 50 yards and called, and we had him within 100 yards and for over an hour. So
yeah.
it was crazy. It
I
was
had him-
frustrating too because it was such a big bull.
I had him at
Couldn't
40
close the
yards
deal.
behind brush, and if he would have came 10 yards closer, could have shot him. And Dad had him at 20 yards and behind a whole bunch of brush, so it wasn't
Just
a good.
thick stuff.
Yeah, too thick. And he got to the point on the mountain. He was coming uphill, so he got to the point where he wanted to see the elk that we were pretending to be. So
Mm-hmm.
he hung
He
up.
was just demanding to see us, and it was a tough situation. I was moving all around up above them, trying to get them to come up.
That was a bullet bugle. So yeah, now we're gonna try to figure out what we're doing tonight or tomorrow morning. So yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully we kill an elk soon so we can have a full-time cameraman, because it's a pain to self-film. So props to the guys who spot and stalk and out west.
The next morning, we decided we were going to go to our drainage, and we got out there about a mile from camp before it was even light, and nothing was bugling yet. We thought, well, it's going to be the same thing as days prior, and so thought we were going to walk around all day like we had, and weren't going to even see any elk, but finally they started talking, and then it just became a complete rut fest, and we got in the middle of I think 3 or 4 bulls, and the closest one to us was above us, and the thermals were still coming down. So we got set up about 100 or 150 yards below them, and I stayed back about 50 yards and sent Trevor and Dad up the hill, and I started my calling sequence. I hadn't made a peep since, so we were nice and close. I thought, well, he's surely going to come down and pick up a cow, even if he has cows. But I started doing some cow calls, and he just stayed up there and bugled at me the whole time. And Trevor saw some cows.
Yeah, I saw some cows bed down. There's 2 or 3 cows. Could never see the bull, but I knew where he was at. So we went and we tried to sneak up, go out on top of him, around him, above him, and Hunter challenged him after we
Well-
heard him spook.
Yeah, the bull or one of the elk must have heard us walking up there. There's so much deadfall, and they took off over the hill and crossed the other side. But they didn't know we were people. They didn't know what we were, and so once I challenged at him, he just moved off even more because he was definitely not a fighter. So
In hindsight, we should have had people go above him and left somebody below him because it was happening before, so we pretty much knew it was probably going to happen. So in hindsight, if we would have had somebody below, I mean, they would have been running so fast we probably wouldn't have gotten a shot. But
Well, and the problem is the thermals were going up the hill, so even if you were below them, they would have spooked even faster, and then they would have gotten human scent, and they would have known we were actually people. Like here, they busted, but they didn't know we were people. So.
He moved him. Challenge side. I'd be really surprised if he's even a legal bull, because he's not going to stand his ground for anything. First sound he heard, he's scattered. If we'd have bugled 20 yards back, he'd have done the same exact thing. He's not a fighter. Usually the cows don't like to be with bulls like that. So I'm not sure how he's controlling them. I thought I heard a cow. I don't know how he's controlling them. He probably won't come back. We're gonna feed it. Come to his colloquy. I'm done. I'm sure he's leaving. Spike's still in control.
So basically, from Tuesday on, I think we actually carried the camera Tuesday. We didn't ever get it out because it basically rained from Tuesday on to the rest of the hunt, and so we didn't bother with that. And between that and the lack of elk activity, we didn't use it much.
Somebody. This is what you do in elk camp when you can't find elk. Here comes an M&M. Right to the throat. I almost had. Don't do it, man. Those could hurt. Give us some more.
So
to sum up those days, it was us bugling, elk bugling back. We pretty much run to try to get closer to it while he was being vocal, and then we'd cow call or do something. And,
well, they'd shut up.
yeah.
Well, the problem was nothing was talking. You can't glass in this area. It's way too dense. And so nothing was talking. The only way you locate elk is by either walking around and spooking a bunch of them, or you can bugle and hope something responds. The problem with that is once you bugle, you give up your location, and so then you try to get closer, and all these bulls just try to run away. And so I think, and the herd dynamics were really weird. Every satellite bull that we called in was huge, and with one exception, I think there was a really big herd bull, the one we were working midday.
The most frustrating bull.
Yeah, we worked him several times that week on that really far hill that it's hard to get back from.
And once you get there, he doesn't go there. So
Yeah.
even if we didn't make a sound, he wouldn't go there. But the minute we left to go move somewhere else to try to chase after a bugle, he'd fire up right where we were at.
Actually, Wednesday morning, we went clear to his hill because we had patterned him going over there, and man, he sounded like a big bull. But we went clear over there. It was raining the whole morning. It was miserable morning, but and we kind of followed the ridgeline down even, and then nothing was bugling, so we decided to back out.
We even sat there for like 2 hours.
Yeah, we sat there in the rain for like 2 hours, and we did some cow calling over there, trying to get something to happen, and we finally left. We were gonna go try to locate another bull, and we got across the drainage, which is basically a cliff on each side when you go down low, and so that's impassable. And what does he do? He bugles like 100 yards or 200 or 300 yards away from us, but across that impassable pass. So really frustrating bull. You'll see a clip coming up here, but really frustrating. Tuesday, it was kind of the same old story. We went and decided we were going to try to hunt our drainage, and by midday we ended up all the way across back over the main trail into another drainage. So we heard a bugle as we were eating lunch, and as we were getting closer to it, I thought, man, that sounds like a Primos Terminator bugle. And sure enough, I cow called, he cow called back at me, imitating me, and we thought, man, that's probably a hunter. So we got closer just to make sure, because you have to assume it's an elk, and we could see 3 separate hunters just to clamp it standing in the middle of a meadow. But anyway, we were bummed. We thought, well, there's probably no elk on this hill, so we went back up to the top, and we thought, well, we'll bugle one more time before we start heading closer to camp. And we actually had a bull fire up on the opposite side of the hill. But same old story, we had to bugle to locate him, and then as soon as we tried to get closer, he went the other way. And we actually got smart, and we just hightailed it to where we thought he was going, and we beat him to the end of the ridgeline where we knew he was going to feed his way around for the night. And we actually got to the end of it. He bugled one more time, and he sounded like he was 300 yards away. And so we started running over the hill again. Turns out he was less than 100 yards away. It was just the way the terrain made it sound like it was a lot farther away. And we busted him and his cows, and they kind of scattered, but I stopped him with some cow calls. And as I was trying to keep them around and trying to keep them to stay there, Dad was already at full draw, and he was creeping his way over the hill, and Trevor was trying to get arranged. They arranged a cow, but it was in just a little bit of brush on this aspen meadow kind of brushy area. And then they went down a little bit more, and the bull spooked again out to, I think it was 69 yards, and stopped broadside on an opening. Looked like a beautiful shot. So Dad took it, and the arc of the arrow hit a limb. We could all hear it hit the limb and deflect off and to nowhere. Yeah. So that was Tuesday. Thursday, well, I don't know. We hiked around all over the place, and nothing happened. We actually, about the last hour of the hunt, we had a moo cow that decided that he wanted to sound like an elk for a while there, so we ran over there, and it turned out to be a cow. So that sums up our elk hunt. So it is, oh geez, it's September 23rd, and it's pack out day now, and it's snowing, so it should be a nice and miserable ride out of the mountains.
Oh, and it also rained like a ton last night, so
yeah,
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh, by the way, the reason I didn't record more of the way up is because I hated my horse. In fact, I think I would have shot it if I would have had a gun. I hated him.
Was that a little bit of foreshadowing there?
Yeah, I thought so.
Turns out I like that horse better than the one I got on the way down.
But hopefully I don't have him again, because I think I'll shoot him. But anyway, now that we're packing out, there's a herd bull that's been tormenting us the whole week, and he seems to be getting closer to camp. So that's just great.
So we have accumulated probably about an inch or two already. Waiting on the pack horses to,
We're freaking cold, so we're just walking around.
Our boots are wet from sweat,
And they're uninsulated.
so that's a recipe for having cold, numb feet. So we've been walking around waiting for the packers to pack the horses.
2.5 or 3 hour ride down. That's gonna suck.
The mountains
Oh.
have kicked their butt this year,
By the
I'd
way.
say.
How should we start? Alphabetically, of course. Albuquerque's are who? The herd bull on the other hill. I hate you. It's from the Grinch.
Yeah, and it's
You get it.
snowing, so you kind of get the point of why we're talking about Christmas. So, yeah, don't know what else to say, but it's kind of crazy. There's snow on the ground. It's been cold. We've been wet.
I guess I'll talk about the hunt later, but it's been raining since Tuesday, so we haven't bothered with the camera. So, but everyone likes a good hunting story, so I just closed it out talking.
All right, so maybe we'll get a couple videos of the ride down the horses and the wet snow, but probably not because it's going to be nasty. So
Yeah,
other than that, we're going to check out from
we're gonna need to hold on.
elk camp. Snowy, cold elk camp.
Defeated.
Yep, mountain one this year. So I guess I lied about not taking any video of the way down. I got bucked off my horse, so It's like 50 yards from camp.
yeah. So I don't really want to take a chance anymore. It's no one's fault, just the conditions. But it's alright, it's all downhill. It's not that bad. It'll be fun.
Plus, it's an experience.
Yeah, just glad I didn't get hurt.
And your bow's still intact?
Yeah, I was carrying my bow in my sling with it on kind of my back. We had just gone up a hill, and all of a sudden he took off on like on a dead sprint. I didn't really know what really happened. And then he started bucking and kicking. Man, I don't know. I knew I was coming off, so I eventually just bailed on what looked like a good spot, and turns out it was a pretty good spot because I'm all right. But I think I rolled right over my bow. Nothing appears to be hurt or anything. So thank you, Athens, for building a really tough bow.
Spot hog.
Yeah.
Bow sight looks a little muddy, but not bad.
Nope. Looks good. Just glad I'm all right.
Taking a short pick.
Shot caller.
Nice call. Snow in the high country. Aspens all turned. Actually, not all.
No, but there's a lot of them that are turned.
Yeah.
More than we've ever seen all hunting here.
Mm-hmm.
You got bucked off on the way down, boy. You ain't no bull rider.
Just disappointed I didn't go 8 seconds. Alright guys, thanks for watching part 2 of the elk hunt. Sorry we couldn't get a big bull on the ground for you guys, but sometimes that's how it goes. And it's really hard to stay positive on hunts like this where you're working your tail off and nothing seems to be working. But, you know, while you're doing it, sometimes you're wishing, I'm not going to say it's over, but you're getting frustrated and
You're wishing for a big cheeseburger.
yeah, that's what you're
That's
wishing
what
for.
you're
A hot shower. We don't do that candy ass hunting, but anyway, you gotta stay positive because as soon as you're home, you're wishing you were back out there. If you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And subscribe to see future content.
Make sure to check out Athens Archery and Last Chance Archery for great products.
Obviously, they build really tough bows. You can see I rolled over mine from a horse, and I've shot it now after getting back, and even killed a doe with it already again, so it's just fine.